Hi, I'm Judy Graham, and welcome to City Matters. We are sitting here at the absolutely stunning penthouse in the Grand Central Fitzpatrick Hotel. And my guest today is none other than Mr. John Fitzpatrick. I think there might be some kind of a relationship there. John, I have to tell you, the minute I walked into your hotel, I absolutely felt like I was stepping into Downton Abbey.
Well, Judy, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here with you today. Yeah. No, we have a small hotel and it's a boutique and it's a family run, so that's nice comment to get. Thank you.
And this isn't your only hotel, correct?
No, we've two hotels. The family business started way back in Ireland when my father opened his first hotel at Castle, just outside Dublin, and he converted it into a hotel. But then we moved over here, and I moved over in 1991 and opened the Fitzpatrick Manhattan, which is located on Lexington Avenue between 56th and 57th Street. And then 6 years later, we came down to Grand Central and opened the one here at the Fitzpatrick Grand Central, which is on 44th between Lex and 3rd. So right. Two hotels.
That's fabulous. And I love the fact that you mentioned you just happen to have a castle in Ireland. So there's the Downton Abbey connection. Okay, there you go. There's no getting around it.
Very good, very good.
So we've all been in this pandemic situation, and the purpose of this show is to really serve the east side of Manhattan. It's almost to the point now we really have to break down our neighborhoods as they are, because each one of them has different needs and different requirements that's going to help them get back up and going after this pandemic. So we're all about the east side, and when you think back and you realize, my gosh, we're in the middle of a pandemic, there are no tourists, there are no commuters, Grand Central is a ghost town, the city is empty, we're on lockdown. What was your thought? What was your thought?
Well, I don't think we could have realized this was going to come so quickly, because on the 10th or 11th of March, things were talking about, there was a virus, wasn't sure. But on the 13th, when the president finally said stopped international travel, within 48 hours, everything locked down, right. From travel. So first, as you say, was the international travel. But now, as we're all in lockdown ourselves, and as you say, offices are closed, and even though now we're in phase 3, the offices are now can open, but most people are working from home still.
They are.
So it's only about 25 or 30%. And this hotel particularly is really for the local people, but also for the local business people. From Grand Central, 100 yards from the door, our lunch trade would be busy, our bars would be busy. And so we're trying to adjust now, right. And say, it's not coming back for a while. And how do we move on?
right.
Exactly, and how do we change?
So during the pandemic, when it was at the height of it, I know a lot of restaurants, hotels, and so on sort of reached out. And I have an idea that you also did something to help people who were here and had to be here for reasons. Explain a little bit of that to our viewers.
Yeah, look, as you said, New York might be a big city, but it's a village in its own way, and every area has its own piece. So I just said, we're surrounded here by something like 10 or 11 restaurants. Some of them are takeout, some of them are just, like ourselves, we sit down and have a meal. So I said, look, why don't we get, the locals, as I call them in Ireland, the locals, to try and encourage them to come out, because they're locked down in their apartments, and they go for their walks, but nothing was opened. Luckily, the city allowed outside dining out initially, and that was the most important, because nobody could get out otherwise. And so that's really helped cause a kind of a street atmosphere, like a European. So I came up with this idea, well, if we can get a permit for outside our hotel, even though we've an outdoor restaurant in the back, but people walking by, just stop for a cup of coffee, sit down. They don't have to have a full meal. It's just to feel like if you were in Europe, that's what you do. You'd stop and look at people going by and people watching and things like that. Now we've had to change a little bit, because we realized a lot of our people were kind of after work or, lunchtime. But now they're not there anymore, so it's now we're going around to the local apartment buildings and trying to encourage them to come out and offer special deals. You know?
Well, speaking of special deals and encouraging the community to come out and so on, I think I know a little something about what you also came up with. Would you share that? Because it's really a fabulous idea for New Yorkers who just say, Eastsiders, whatever, they just say, I got to get out of here. I've got to have a staycay away from my my man cave.
Yeah. Well, it's true. And look, I did a piece with, as you know, with New York One. It was they who came up with the idea, and it was Annika on the show said, you know what, I'm stuck in my apartment. I just think I'd like to stay in a hotel, just get out of my apartment for a night, stay, bring my kids, and have dinner, have somebody else cook dinner for us, and have someone else give us breakfast, maybe room service. And it clicked with me then. I said, let's extend what we were all originally talking about. And they gave me the idea to say, offer a special rate of $99 and let you stay, overnight. And if you're a New York person, if you're a New York resident itself, we'll give an extra night and we'll throw it in as part of the package. And it just gives people time. Everyone's tired of cooking at home or ordering in, just going for quick walks and coming back. And I did it myself, actually. I sat in an outside restaurant for the first time last night and said, it's nice, that you can, you're not worrying about it. We've only started it, so it looks like we got great response. And I think for New Yorkers, it's something that we want to do because, all our hotels, wherever they are, either here or in Ireland, we've always concentrated on the local people because, people say in Ireland, it's in Ireland, so we take a lot of Americans and everything, but it's important, though, for the local people to be able to feel welcome, to come in the door. And some people kind of walk by, that's a hotel, it's too expensive. It's not in my budget, I'll go down the road. And where our attitude, we have an Irish pub, it's the same price as any of the bars around the area, come in and just feel at home.
Well, once again, it's all about that wonderful, warm Irish welcoming. Yes. So let's go through a little bit about how you have made the changes in the hotel to make it super safe and super comfortable and to put people's minds at ease. There's still a lot of unrest out there. So tell us a little bit about that.
Look, you're 100% right. And when this happened, when I was sitting down with my salespeople, and I said, look, guys, we can't go out and get business at the moment because there is no business. What we have to do is prepare for when it comes back. And I call it as we've all called it, the new normal.
Right.
And so we said, people come to hotels, because they want to get away and relax and feel a little bit of pampering and, feel different than just staying at home. So if they come in and they're nervous or they're apprehensive about coming, they're not going to come. So
correct.
We've got to do all the safety things. We have to change, but we want to do it in an easy way. So I came up with the idea, I think it was one of the first hotels here in New York. They're all now following, people were doing temperature checks when they come in the door. But nobody wants to stand in front of you and put a temperature on front of your face and breathe on top of you. So we have this video camera now that you just walk up very quietly, put your face on it, and it tells you, it calls it back, gives you your temperature. And we do that with everybody coming in. So employees, number one, too, because we want to make sure our employees are safe.
Absolutely.
That's our one priority, so they have to be safe. And then our guests coming in. So when you go to check in, then we also give you a welcome pack. I said the day of just giving someone a mint on the pillow is gone. It's a little bit different now, So it's a welcome pack, and it's a face mask, a set of gloves, sanitary pads, and a wipe. You know what I mean? Just for a gel for just remove it. Now people say, why are you doing that? They should have their own. But some people forget or don't, and it's nice little thing. And then even though the rooms are being deep cleaned, and we've housekeepers are spending more time and cleaning it. I know myself, if I walk into a hotel room, I may want to still do a little bit of extra for my own peace of mind. Didn't cover that. But we're also doing in the public areas, every 30 minutes, our housemen are going around wiping every door handle, every knob, elevator buttons. Actually, I'm looking at my elevators this morning, they're all getting faded because we've been wiped so many times. But it's that we have to do. And if everybody comes in and goes through the temperature check, some people might say, well, why are you asking me? But once they get past it, then they say, well, you know what? If they're doing it for me, everybody else has got that.
That's right.
So it gives them that comfort feeling. As we all know, the temperature check is not 100% covered, but it covers a good percentage of it. And again, it's one extra thing that people will feel, okay, they're worrying about it at least, and they're thinking about it. But we do it in a soft way. We've also brought out a safety video, that we play in the room, and we send it out to our corporate clients in advance. So instead of just saying a list of this is what you have to do, if you send it out in a video with a bit of, background and see what's done, it's a lot easier and it's a lot more. And then we're getting huge response to that from overseas and everything. People, some of our biggest accounts are in London and everything, and say, look, we will be back and we're glad to know that you're getting ready for us. And I think that's it.
Well, here we are. Well, Mr. John Fitzpatrick, it has been an absolute pleasure to meet you and to have you share all the ins and the outs of the hotel business, but also how you're running a fabulous hospitality industry and putting the Irish warm welcome on it, and also the security and safety measures that you're going through. I love the idea of the new welcome bag as being really, it's about pristine and making sure that you yourself feel comfortable. So Eastsiders, I'm just saying to you, please get out there for $200. Now, come on, that's a bargain in New York. Come on and come to one of the Mr. Fitzpatrick's hotels. You can either go to 56th Street or you can come right off of Grand Central. Come on, little pass down here. Come on and spend an evening and dinner and breakfast here and get the marvelous, fabulous, warm Irish welcome from Mr. Fitzpatrick and his staff. Hi, I am here with Mika from the Bartali Salon. The Bartali Salon is located on 57th Street in the beautiful Galleria building. What is the address, Mika? It is
115 East 57th Street.
115 East 57th Street, and of course it is right in the heart of where New Yorkers like to come and get all of their beauty services taken care of. And today we have Mika, who is one of the owners of the salon, and certainly is going to be going forth. You're going to be the owner of the salon. So let's talk a little bit about all of this pandemic, and it had to be a difficult thing in the beauty industry, because I know for a lot of people, myself included, that to me, hair, getting yourself looking and feeling good was a matter of an essential business. There was nothing non-essential about it. How did that come across at Bartali Salon?
Well, that sentiment was definitely felt a lot between the clients, the staff. We all had a sense of nervousness, stress. I think we all had the uncertainty of not knowing what was going to happen from day to day. So that was definitely scary, and a lot of clients were definitely calling us or emailing us, trying to find us.
How many calls did you have? I mean, I would imagine you were blowing up with
Oh yeah, when we got back to the salon, and just on the hard line, we had about 650, 700 messages ready to come back, multiple times calling and things like that, just desperate for some kind of normality again, with their hair, with their nails, with whatever it can be.
Right, okay. And obviously you couldn't really service any of those clients during the pandemic, but did you have a lot of requests? Because I know I reached out, even though I knew that I was going to get a no, which I did, but I still reached out anyway because I felt desperate.
I had a fair amount of people calling, either saying they're willing to come to my place or they're driving me out to Westchester, Lower Manhattan during the whole protests and curfew. They even wanted me to go down to Lower East Side in the middle of the night, basically, and beat the quarantine. It was just very interesting. Everybody had their own image of why they needed it done then. The Zoom calls were still happening, even if we weren't meeting in person. We still had to look good, presentable.
Yes.
And like you said, it's a very essential thing for a lot of people when they wake up or when they see themselves in the mirror. If they look good, they feel better.
Yes.
And now with the mask and wearing the mask for everybody, it's like you have less of a face, you have less of everything. So it's even more important almost to have the hair looking good, clean. Makes us all feel sexier, better.
Yes, it does. It certainly does. During the lockdown, there were a lot of people that felt that, beauty salon industries were locked down for too long. Now, I understand it from a psychological position, but what about from a safety and a hygiene position? Did you feel it was too long? Did you feel it was too short? Did you feel it was about right?
Well, it was interesting because when we found out, we only reopened on the 23rd of June.
June 23rd, you opened.
So it's only been a few weeks. We found out the Thursday before that Tuesday that we're reopening. So we got all the stuff ready. We put up the borders and all that, the temperature thermometer when they come in, the masks and everything. When we first came back, we were, okay, how is this going to work for us? Are they going to feel safe? Are they going to feel comfortable still coming into the salon and getting the services? It's still a service. You don't want to only feel safe, you still want to feel comfortable and have a good time in there. You don't want to just feel like a sheep, basically. So we did all these things, and the first few days was very iffy, scary almost, but after a while you feel very safe. I don't even think about it. You just put your mask on. You do the normal day work. It's nothing really changed except for just a few different processes when they come in. After the first time they came, they made their appointment immediately for the next time because they felt safer.
Well, New York salons in particular, really salons everywhere, they've always had a level of cleanliness that they really want to match up to, that they really are very proud of. And so I would imagine that instigating some of these things for the salon was fairly routine in a way.
Yeah, it felt natural.
It felt natural.
It felt natural to take on these new requirements and things, and also as a suggestion from a lot of us, we added a few extra things.
Like what?
Like,
What did you add?
We have to wear a mask, obviously, by law.
Right.
We have the face guards for certain people, depending on what they're doing and
Okay.
how long they're going to be in contact with you. If you're doing highlight or something like that, they'll wear it to kind of be better. As well, it's basically very, like I said, important for us not only to make 100% the most important thing right now is for everyone to feel safe and to be safe, but it's also, like I said, important for us and the clients to feel like they're coming and getting a service as well.
Mhm.
That they're not just coming into a doctor's office and getting checked and being pushed here and being pushed there, where they're still having the service, where they're still feeling good when they leave.
And being that this show really emphasizes the problems and the challenges that we face on the east side, we really want to bring in businesses that are dealing with things that East Siders themselves. I'm kind of thinking that it's all sort of one community and one neighborhood in a
Agreed.
sense.
It all works hand in hand together. I
It
agree
does, it does, and I see more and more and more of that as we get further away from this pandemic and more back to the new normal. So you're a young guy, obviously you're going to be at some point really taking over this business. How do you think this pandemic has changed you as a person?
First of all, it's definitely changed the way that we look at other people and the way we're looking at the situation that we're walking into. We're taking it all as a grain of salt. Okay, is this going to be dangerous? Is this going to be safe? How long am I going to be doing this? Or really the thing for me as a young man, like you said, I'm trying my best to know or to realize this is not a one-day thing or a one-day solution. But I can't accept yet, at least for me, that this is a new normal. I think the normal might be different, but I don't know what it's going to look like.
Right.
So I'm just trying to take it day by day. Whatever they're telling us to do, I'm trying to follow every rule that they give us. But at the same time, optimistic that we can get back to some form of
Normalcy.
living. Yeah.
Right. Bartali is the place you want to go if you want an up-to-the-minute artistic hairstyle and you are living in New York, or you want to show everyone that you belong in New York. So Eastsiders, come and support Bartali Salon. And Mika, it has been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
so pleased to introduce you to Jim Morgan, who is the artistic director of the York Theater. The York Theater is located on Lexington Avenue, just off of 54th Street. And it has been around for some time. It's if you don't have the perspective, it's in the City Court building, which also houses St. Peter's Church. And then the theater is in the grotto, shall we say. And it is quite a wonderful off-Broadway, small, intimate theater that if you don't know about the York, it is something that you must put on your to-do list. So Jim Morgan, Artistic Director of the York Theater, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, Judy.
Tell us, I know you have a big year that you are celebrating.
Yes, this is our 50th anniversary year. Well, we're really kind of at the end of it now with all that's been going on. It sort of interrupted the 50th anniversary celebration, but that just allows us to extend it further. So
Correct. So the
that
51st
it's not
year.
all terrible.
No, it isn't. That's,
And we only do musical theater. People may not know that. And what makes us unique is we emphasize the new works that we do, but we also do classic shows, particularly unknown classic shows from the past. So it's a wonderful mix of old and new.
it is. It's fabulous. And I've been a supporter of the York Theatre for many years and hope I have many more years to do that. How long have you been with the York, Jim?
I've been there for 46 of the 50 years. It's kind
Wow.
of scary.
Kind of
I didn't have any idea that I would have that kind of connection to it for that long, but it just ended up being my artistic home in New York. While designing, I'm a set designer,
Yes.
designing around the country and directing occasionally around the country. But I've stayed at York and then I've run it for the past 22 years.
So you are family and home is the York Theatre to you. Do you remember your first production? The very first production you did 46 years
Well,
ago?
the first show I designed was Night Must Fall in the spring of 1975, but I got involved there in the late fall of 1974. I had just graduated from college, the University of Florida. My aunt and uncle went to the Church of the Heavenly Rest at 5th and 90th Street, where York was originally based, and I asked them if they had any connections who could help me get into theater, and Aunt Mary said, well, we don't really know anyone in theater, but there is this dear little theater group at the church. Maybe you'd like to meet the woman who runs it. And that was the beginning of the whole thing. Janet Hayes Walker was the founder of it, and she took a liking to me and liked my work and hired me immediately.
There you have it. Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit. That sounds like, romantic, wonderful, good old times. When you realized that we were in the middle of a going to have a pandemic and that we were going to be locked down, what was your first reaction? I can imagine as a theater, an artistic director, that there had to be a part of your soul that just got ripped out.
Well, yeah, because we still have no idea what's going on. But we had a show that was all ready to go. It was ready to start rehearsal, all cast, all designed, ready to be marketed, and we were selling tickets to it. A wonderful new musical called Cheek to Cheek, Irving Berlin in Hollywood, made up of all Irving Berlin's movie songs. And it's directed, choreographed, and conceived by the inimitable Randy Skinner. And we had a cast of 6 all ready to go. Like, it was 2 weeks from rehearsal when we had to shut down. So when it became obvious what was happening, I think we all thought, well, June, we can do it in June. We'll just put it off a little bit and things will be back by then. And then we realized the enormity of what we're in the middle of, and that we're not sure. We're hoping maybe February we can make that show happen. That will be the first show that we do when we get back.
Okay, so February 2021 is what you're ideally shooting for. Do you think it's possible that off-Broadway, smaller venues will come back before the large, big Broadway
That's the
shows?
hope. But again, smaller spaces make it more difficult to deal with the realities of the virus and not spreading it around. So in a Broadway show, in a Broadway theater, you can say, well, you can seat people in every other row and they're 3 seats apart. But when you put that kind of restrictions in a space like ours where we have 175 seats, then you're down to an audience of what, 25? And
Right.
kind of what's the point? Either financially, you can't make a go of it that way, and what is the reaction from that size audience going to be like for the actors? And then let's talk about the actors. Are the actors all 6 or 7 feet apart, stationary on stage? Is that all we can do now? I mean,
It's
sadly, no one has real answers for this.
extremely awkward.
Yeah.
Right? Extremely awkward. So we talked about some of these safety measures. What, in your opinion, is one of the most difficult things that you have to grapple with as an artistic director? Is it what have you been doing during this pandemic to kind of bring in focus, to let people know that we're still here even though we're not producing?
Well, we've
What
been
have you
doing a
done?
lot of stuff online. Well, we've done things live, just not live performances.
Performances, right?
We've been doing a series called Show and Tell, which is essentially they're virtual cast reunions of notable shows from our past. We've done 8 of them so far. They seem to have a wonderful following, and it's a great way to revisit shows from our past. It's very expensive, first of all, and difficult technically to put on a performance. But even to show a recording of a show that you've done in the past is extremely expensive, and we're trying to figure out how to navigate that. Not a lot of people want to pay to watch things that are online, so we do most everything with a donation basis. We also have something, a contest going on called Songwriters in Mufti. Our Mufti series is made up of concert versions of shows from the past, and they're put together in a week, and they run for 2 weeks. But this is putting out a theme for songwriters to write to, and they have a week to come up with a song based on that theme. And there's been a wonderful response to it, and you can see a lot of the results on YouTube. Go to the York Theatre channel on YouTube. And also the shows from Show and Tell, the panel discussions from Show and Tell are on YouTube as well, and Facebook also, I believe.
And I know that one of the things that the York really depends on is the donations, of course. So, again, this is a show for East Siders, and if you have not been familiar with the York Theatre, it's certainly something you ought to be familiar with. And their donations really is what makes them thrive. So if you love theater as much as many New Yorkers do, they are 501c3, so you can take a tax deduction. And quickly, what is going to be your big show when you reopen again?
Well, Cheek to Cheek, Irving Berlin and Hollywood.
I can't wait to take my mask off and go dancing cheek to cheek.
Me too.
All right,
Me
Jim
too.
Morgan, thank you so much for being with us at City Matters. I'm Judy Graham. If you'd like to know more about our show, we are all about the East Side. We tell you things that you need to know and some of the things you didn't even know you needed to know. We'll be back again, and any other information that you want to find, follow me at judy4newyork.com.